That was your trade, and you went into the bush when you were 14, right?
I was 13 years when I was it when I left home to go and drive.
Yeah.
I went and drive a tall lake and I rode the Winnipeg River.
Where was that?
Tall Lake.
Tall Lake?
That was the name of the lake.
That was the name of the lake.
Land first.
And
And then I got on there and I rode the Winnipeg River.
the Winnipeg River,
Winnipeg River, right down to the French River.
right down to the French. That was really
3 months.
that was really in the bush. And you were 14.
I was 13 years after age. That was in the spring. I was going to be 14 in the fall.
And you went in for McLaughlin?
Oh, from there I went to work for the Spanish Lumber Company.
The Spanish Lumber Company. That was really north then, wasn't it?
That was above Massey.
Right.
Above Sudbury.
Right, right.
The Winnipeg River passed 10 miles below Sudbury before you come into Sudbury.
Well, you must have been really strong that they would take you in the bush.
And then I went up there for the bush there for the Spanish Lumber Company. Frank Rose was the foreman.
Frank Robe?
Frank Rose.
Rose was the foreman, eh?
He's passed away there
He's gone now.
last year.
Yeah.
72 years of age.
Yes.
But I worked for him. That's during the war, 1914.
Yeah. What did you do? What were your jobs?
Oh, I was driving a horse.
You were a teamster.
Yeah, I was teamster there
Yeah. For a while.
for the skid logs.
Right, right. Yeah.
And then one time, we used to pass the plow and then draw on the slate, draw the lumber on the slate, log, draw that to the river.
Yeah.
Well, spend the year and to drive the Sauble River.
Then you went to the Sauble River.
Drove the Sauble River.
Yeah, you drove the Sauble River, eh? What's it like to drive?
Oh, well, it's the drive, you got to be in the boat and push the log out and come to a chute or come to a rapid or a jam where you break the jam
Yeah.
and float the log down.
Right.
That's good work.
But was the Sauble River a fast river?
Oh, yeah.
It is, eh?
Fast river.
Because they don't really drive them on rivers unless they're fast.
Fast river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that was when you were 13 and 14.
That was in fall in 1916.
1916.
At the fall of the war in 1914 finished in 1980.
Yeah. So you were born in 1900, eh?
I was born in 1901.
1901. You're exactly the same age as my father and mother. They were both born 1901.
1901.
Right, yeah.
78 years of age.
That's right, yeah.
24 November.
So how many years did you work in the bush?
How many years? Well, I worked in the bush till 10 years ago.
Till 10 years ago. You were 68, eh? When you quit.
I quit.
So you must have a lot.
Of course, the last few years back, I didn't shout anymore. I worked 18 years for my brother.
Ah.
My brother had a bunch of trucks, driving taxi in town here, and I worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quit him, and then I went to Labrador in 1953. I was there for 1 year.
1 year. Well, I want you to tell me about the year in Labrador, because you see, I don't have anybody on tape who's timbered in Labrador.
Yeah.
What was the difference between working in Labrador and working in the rest of the country?
Oh, well, there I do prospecting mine. There.
Oh, you were prospecting a mine.
That's all they were doing there.
What were you looking for?
They were looking for a hole.
Gold?
And
Silver?
I passed the one in the cotton tent there.
In a cotton tent?
Yes, sirree.
How was that?
This cotton tent, just a wall built with plywood, 4 feet, and then a cotton tent over, and that was inside, and there were 4 men inside of that.
What were you doing? Like, what were you doing?
I was driving a bull.
You were driving a
bullnozer.
A bullnozer, eh?
That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Poured out the stuff, and all that.
Back and forth, eh, to
They went to work and they drill in one place, and after they were through drilling there to prospect what they had can find on it, and then the prospector was going around and he found some other place was good.
So you'd move.
So when I went there, they were there for a year before, and then they went to work and pulled out that stuff 11 miles, and they had a camp, they stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, in 1954, I went back, and then we transferred all 200 tons of stuff by plane in Java Bay. And I had to fly every trip. It was 300 miles to the trip.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we returned.
Right. Did you
And
like?
I had to go up every trip. I had to go up to go and unload the far end because there was nobody there.
Right.
Where we landed, there was nobody there. It was just
Right.
Eskimos. That's all.
There's nobody there. Were there
No,
the
no,
wolves
no,
and the
no.
bears?
The time you leave here, you go 3,500 miles straight in the bush.
Were the wolves and the bears there?
No, none of that.
None of-
Caribou.
Caribou. That
That's
was
all
all.
there.
That's all you saw. Eh?
No.
Did you like it?
Oh yes, I like it.
You like it?
Sure.
The money was good?
I didn't
Well,
like
I
it
was-
when he was away so long.
No,
Not bad.
I guess not.
I was paying $150 a month income tax,
So
so I was making good money.
you were making good money, so it was worth it.
And I
Maybe.
had 12 independent at home.
Yeah, 12 at home.
Yeah.
12 children.
About 15
Well,
in the
independent.
family and they're all living.
Good heavens!
I have 7 boys and 8 girls, all 11.
Holy
My
moly!
baby boy is 36 years of age.
How much?
He's living right for in an apartment in the back here, my boy is
How old is he?
36.
36. Eh? That's your last. That's your baby.
The baby. He's a big
38.
baby. And,
Men forget.
oh.
Okay, well listen, I want to just a minute go back to your father's name and your mother, like who they were.
My father's name is Cleophas
Cleophas
Soucie.
Soucie. And he came from
Well, he was born here.
at Cullench. And your mother's
Well,
name?
my mother's name, she was LaPointe.
LaPointe. What was her first name?
Leonora LaPointe.
Leonore
Yeah.
Yeah.
LaPointe. And she was from Cullench.
Oh,
Okay?
For lunch.
Okay.
But not quite in Cullen. She was born up on the farm, 5 miles away from here, that way. But they always call that Cullen, you know.
At the shoot, yeah.
And,
Okay.
my father lost his mother. He was 7 years of age.
Oh. And it was so
And then he went to stay that across the Rapov, they called Ontario side there.
yeah.
He stayed there for a while, and then
With
when he got old
relatives?
enough, he came back home. But his father was born in Quebec.
In Quebec. His father was
Yeah, his
born, like
father,
your
he's-
grandfather was
And
born
my
in
grandfather,
Quebec City.
His name is Jules
Jules Soucie.
Soucie.
And he came,
And his father come from France.
Yeah, right.
That's my great grandfather.
yeah, right. So that
come
you
from
know,
France.
like your generations back. Now, did Jules come and take up land at Quebec City?
Oh, well, I don't know.
You don't know? No, he probably didn't. But tell me, then, was your father a lumberman too?
Oh yeah.
He was in the bush too,
He worked in the bush too, and then he was farming.
and he spent his life around here though.
Oh yes. He spent his life on the farm there, and then my mother died, and she was 45. She was only 45 years of age.
How many children were there?
We were 14 of a family.
14.
Yeah, we were
Before she died.
We were 5 girls and 9 brothers.
Right. Before your mother died?
Yeah.
And then she lost two
She
twins.
died with the last baby. She was 45 years of age.
She was
And she
45.
had lost twins before that.
And she had lost twins before that, so there were 14. Okay, so you really
My
didn't.
dad was only 28 years married,
Yeah,
and then my mother died.
yeah. So you really didn't get a chance to go to school.
Not too much.
Not too much.
We,
Like,
we had to walk 3 miles morning and night to go to school.
so you
And we had
really
to-
you lived on a farm outside of
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
of
5 miles away. all the
5
time.
miles, and you had to walk 3 miles to school, eh?
Yeah, morning and night.
So you didn't really go to school very much,
No,
eh?
no, I didn't get no very much school.
No, and
No education at all. All I can do is fire calculate with all that and figures, but I was writing and reading, I'd
You can sign his name
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
sign my name and all that.
how did you feel about that?
Oh, I felt tough, all right, but
You did, eh? You didn't like that. No.
But you
that's
do.
where it goes.
Yeah.
You
Well,
have a
Well, at
big
that time, we
family.
didn't have much chance, you know.
yeah.
We had to get up in the morning and make the chores.
Right.
Father was in the bush, we had to make the chores.
Yeah.
We had to, some cattle and all that.
Right.
Make that chore in the morning before we leave to go to school.
Right.
And
Yeah.
walk 3 miles through the field there in the snow to your knees
Yeah.
in the wintertime, so it wasn't very nice.
No. Oh. It was
And then
pretty tough.
Leave school at 4 o'clock
It was dark.
and come home and make the chores.
Yeah,
The next morning we had to be at school for 9 o'clock
yeah,
and walk 3 miles.
yeah.
So it wasn't very funny.
No, I
So
know.
that was miserable at that time.
Yeah, right.
Today they were very nice. They drive in the bus right to
Oh,
school.
yes. So you
Then
had,
I quit that and I left here and after I quit my brother, that's the time I went to Labrador. And then I came back from Labrador and everything. I moved to Ottawa and I was 3 years in Ottawa. Moved my family there.
Mhm.
I was working in a quarry there. Quarry was done tile.
mm-hmm.
And then I wasn't making any headway, so I went to work and I quit it and I bought a bulldozer of my own. Then I worked in the bush with a bulldozer of my own.
Yeah, was that better?
Well, it was a little better, yes.
Yeah.
I was making $100 a day.
Yeah, it was better.
And I bought 2 machines.
Right,
The last machine cost me $52,000.
right. So you really were,
I sold it 10 years, about 10 years ago I sold it. I quit.
Yeah.
I retired and
right,
I quit.
right. Okay, well, let's go back for a minute to when you were a young lad, like you were 13 or you were 14 when you went into the, you were 13 going on 14 when you went into the bush. How did you get your first job? Can you remember? You must remember that.
Well, I got my first job.
Yeah, when you went to
You
work,
just went to work and hire yourself and go to the bush.
go to the bush. Like
That's it.
you went to
I
that.
went there with my brother.
Yeah, but you
You
went to
were-
where? Where did you go to get your job?
Well, we were hired right here.
You're hired right here, right?
Yeah.
You just went down. Dan McLaughlin had an office here, eh?
No McLaughlin had no. At that time, you used to just go to and you never go to work. You just go to here and then go up to the camp.
Yeah, but you must have signed on. You said you were a McLaughlin. You worked for Dan McLaughlin.
I worked for McLaughlin. I worked for G.R. Booth. I worked for Gillis. I worked for Davison. That was the company I worked for.
That's what they told me that you did.
I worked
yeah.
I worked
You worked for
them
all
companies.
those companies.
Oh yes, and then we always had some jobbers,
Yeah,
and I used to work for the jobbers.
yeah.
They
They just hire you on.
Yeah.
But you didn't see Booth or Gillies or any of these guys. They were all living in Ottawa, spending their money by then, eh?
Not too much money.
Yeah.
That's the way I worked. Yeah.
Well, who were some of the men that you worked with? Like, were some of the, like you mentioned, Rose. I'm really interested in the names of the men who were part of your time in the bush. There must have been some men who were sort of famous, the famous foreman and so on.
Well, the fellow was foreman. They used to, in the bush, there was just a foreman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, that's what you
McLaughlin was a fellow named Billy Mundown. He was the head man.
And
he
where
was the foreman.
and where was he from?
Oh, I don't know where
You
he
don't
was
know.
from. I don't
Yeah.
know where he was from.
Like what I'm getting at is there were some famous rivermen like the Frost brothers, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Who came from around here, Pembroke, and who were known. Like I've talked to men in Calabogie and Mount St. Patrick and away over there who knew the famous rivermen. Now maybe that was before your time.
Oh, yeah.
But did the legends not come down to you? Like, did you never hear stories when you were sitting around in the bush about Joseph Mufferon?
No.
No, it was all
That was
gone.
before my time. But.
And so that there was no talk of things like that. Gentleman Paddy Dillon was another one?
No.
No. None of that.
That was before my time.
Yeah. Well, what did they do at night? Did they just... Didn't they tell stories when they were...
No.
No?
My daughter-in-law took my milk in the fifth.
Oh.
No, that's not much story. Well, that's a story that
Yeah.
we're taking the fall in the evening at camp. I'll tell the stories and like that. But at 9 o'clock they blow the light and go to bed.
Yeah, right. Well, what was the best company to work for?
Oh, far as the company concerned, it was McLaughlin.
That was McLaughlin. That's the story I get from
They
everybody.
had the rule and that was it, you see.
Yeah.
And their head office at the McLaughlin, they were at the Sam Pryor,
Mm-hmm, right.
Brisside.
Right.
That was the
Well,
office.
why was McLaughlin the best company to work for?
Well, they were lumber, you know, and then they were the best in the way, the best rule of everything, and they were paid a little more than the other ones. But we were near up in the evening, got kids in the same room, both were there.
Well, the same
Then
rule.
we get used to working in the press. I worked for them in logging for 5 years.
Yeah.
I drove for them, drove the Current River, run boats, run through the rapids,
What?
white water,
Yeah.
run the boat through that.
Right.
I done a lot of that. I risked my life quite a few times.
Oh well, tell me about those. See, I want to hear about that.
I risked my life quite a few times in
For-
the rapids.
Well, tell me about it. How? Like, what happened?
Oh, well, what happened sometimes if the boat fill up with water, you get a big dark swell.
What do you do? What do you do then?
Well, you float down, that's all you do. That's all you have to do. Let it go. You get to the foot of the rapid. The chute, well, port out the boat along the shore. You never run the chute.
No.
No. With this, to go to work, get a bunch of men and port out the boat and put it in the water at the foot. That's what was wrong. Break the jam at the head of a chute and all that.
Did you ever break a jam?
Oh, yes.
Well, tell me about it.
I was breaking jam and jam a log.
Yeah.
Holy Jesus! Well, I had broke a lot of it. You just get on the log and pinch the log with a PV and all that and throw it away.
Well, did you ever think of not doing it?
No. I was a smart man in the log.
You were, eh?
Me?
You? You were a smart man on the lot.
Well, anything could just float me. I could work all day on it.
You could, eh?
Oh yeah, didn't bother me. I
Yeah.
had a good leg.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
balance.
No, but 12 inches big. I get on top of it and send it that log and I work all day on it. Push the other logs away and all that. That's what it was. Through the brush and all that. Sometimes when it was along the Current River, well, you pull the log with a boat. But in the creek, the end of the dam, well, the dam is float high water. Well, there'd be not a bushel outside the creek would be drowned.
Right.
When the log will come down there, sometimes they float away and they'll jam out there. Well,
Right.
that's where you had to work on the loose.
You had to work on the loose, eh?
On the loose log.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just jumping one log to the
Yeah.
other.
Well, would you
Push
pick?
it right down.
Would you pick out a favorite log?
Oh, it didn't matter what log you
You
picked.
didn't, eh? Because
No.
some men told me.
Anything was floating.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, anything was floating.
Anything that would float, you could ride it. Eh?
Oh, yes.
You were
yes.
pretty
Didn't
fantastic.
Didn't bother me at all.
You were pretty fantastic. It was sort of like just walking on the earth, eh?
Same thing I was on the earth.
Yeah. Right.
It didn't bother me at all if I
Yeah.
was go on the log. Oh, yes, I was a smart man on the log. Good leg,
Good legs, eh?
good nerve.
Good.
I never fell off a log.
Never.
No.
No.
I never fell in log. Many the lad used to jump on the log with me, try to roll the log quick.
Oh, you were good, eh?
Well, he'd go down and I'd
Yeah.
stay on top.
Did you ever go into the competitions that they used to have?
No.
No? No.
Oh, there was some competition one time in Calumet Island here,
Right.
and a picnic,
Right.
and there was some fella named Riva.
Yeah.
They were a lumbering man and they were rivals.
Yeah.
Fella named Twin Riva, a fella named Charlie Riva,
Mm-hmm.
and so they had a contact there. I was all dressed. You were all ready to go in the log to roll the log in the river.
Yeah.
Two of them.
Yeah.
Who stays on the log last, he was winning the prize.
Uh-huh.
So when he wanted me to go on, he knew me well because I drove with him quite a few years.
Yeah.
So he coaxed me to go. I says, no, I won't go.
Is that because
Pick anybody at all.
you had your good clothes on?
I had good clothes on
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything, and no cord boots.
No
that.
cord
That
boots,
time, but you had to have the cord boots.
Yeah. Right.
So so you won't slip. All cord spike that long
Spikes,
on the shoes.
Yeah.
Cord boots they call that.
Yeah.
You had to
Well,
wear that.
where did you get your cork boots? Where did you get
Oh, you
them?
buy that from the company.
From the company, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, did the spikes ever come through the wrong way?
Oh.
Like I've often wondered, did they ever come through up like this?
No.
They were really made.
They thick sole of that thick, and then them cork was screwed in. Inside.
Oh, they were screwed in, eh?
Oh, yes, they're cord boots.
And they never came up, eh?
Oh,
I've often
never.
wondered if they.
Oh, they never came out for sure.
No. Well, that was leather, eh? That
Oh,
was.
leather boots,
Yeah.
leather,
Right.
big leather sole, you know.
Were they warm?
Oh, yes, leather boots.
Were they lined with anything?
No.
No?
Real cord boots.
Yeah. So did you never went into any competitions?
No competition. When you were working on the drive and all that, you had no competition, you had to do your work, that's
Yeah.
all. But that time there was a picnic, and they had that, you know, to draw the crowd. And draw the crowd, that meant they put out posters. And then there were a prize for rolling log. 2-man rolling log, and how good you were in log. I was trying to roll a log like that there. My feet were just going like that, and white water was flying. That was it. They had a log purpose. Peel. No
Right.
bark at all.
No.
Just peel.
So
And
slip
the log
more
just not
slip.
to float you.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of log.
Yeah.
So you had to be smart, and you had to have a good leg to hold yourself on that log.
Right.
And that's what it was.
Okay.
But,
Were you good at hewing the line and?
oh yeah.
Oh, tell
I
me.
was good at drying a bull motor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I drove that for done that for years and years. I was really good at that.
Well, how in what way? Like you could
Well, make road in the
make
bush.
a road. Yeah.
Threw down tree. For $1 I threw down tree, I've been millionaire.
For every tree you threw down.
Many the trees, this is the time you wink your eye, the tree was gone.
Yeah.
That's what was wrong with the bull motor. And there was a trick to throw it down.
Was there? What's the trick?
Oh yeah.
What is the trick?
What was the trick?
Yeah.
Well, in the tree, they all was a weak side.
Ah.
But you had to know which side is weak.
Ah. How can you tell which is the weak side?
Oh, you tell.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very easy to tell. But you just will look at it where the roots is. Where the heavy root, because the shooting out there. Well, it'd be a heavy root there. That'd be too strong.
That's the
If
strong.
the other side is only small little root. That would be the weakness.
Ah. So you could pick out the weakness with just like that. Eh?
And the tree always strong on the north side.
Strong on the north side.
Always strong on the north side.
Why?
Because there was moss on, and the tree would be moss sometimes 2-3 feet high. And one side is south, there won't be any moss. Because the moss was there to hold the cold from the north, that tree. And that was the strongest of that tree. The other side was weak. The small trees didn't matter, but the big tree,
Yeah.
they come a tree about around 20 inches, 25 inches in the stump. That was big, the size of the table. And that was hard tree to throw down.
That would be.
Especially yellow birch.
Oh, really?
That's the hardest tree to throw down on an elm. An elm tree. That was the hardest tree to throw down.
It must be, eh? Tough.
Elm tree, there'll be root there 25, 30 feet long. And then you roll your bull motor and you step by step before you hit the tree there, you go to work and just cut the roots off on one side. After the root is cut off there, well then you pull yourself on the log side with the blade up like that, you pull the tree down. The root is all cut on one side. So it's easy to throw the tree down.
No, were there, you say elm. Where did you cut down elm?
Elm?
Yeah.
Well, the elm tree is root all around.
No, but where? In what part of the country?
Oh, they're in the bush, any place at all.
Oh, there are still elm in the bush.
Yes, they're all over.
All over.
Oh, yes. There's elm trees, there's all kinds of bush.
Yeah, but
All kinds of, you take in the bush, there's all kinds of class of trees.
yeah,
Yellow
but all
birch,
the elms
white
are
birch,
dead.
elm tree.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is all the elms are dead here, right?
Oh, yeah.
I want to know if there's still elms alive in the bush.
Oh, well,
He hasn't been in the bushes a while now.
No. Yeah.
you take in the bush, there's all kinds of bush, all kinds of trees in the bush.
Oh, yeah.
There's yellow birch, there's white birch, and there's oak, white oak, red oak, pine, spruce, balsam.
You know them all, eh?
Well, I know them all for
Yeah.
sure. Why not?
Like old friends.
Hardwood,
Right.
all that.
Right.
There's all kinds of
What about the soft trees?
soft.
Are they easy?
Oh yeah.
They're easy, eh? Like the pine and the
Pine soft, red pine.
red pine. They go easy, eh?
Red pine, white spruce, black spruce.
But they're easier to take down.
Oh yes.
They don't have the big root system that the others
Well, white pine with big roots.
does, eh?
Oh yes. Oh, the white pine tree. Because but small one around 12 inches big or 15 inches big. It's not very big root on it. But you take some around. Sometimes we used to hit the old stump cut years ago. You used to make square timber that time. That was the time my father was shanty.
Right.
They made square timber.
Right.
And that square timber come down the Ottawa River here and go right down to Quebec. But my dad, we went down to Quebec on the square timber.
He did, eh?
Oh yeah.
He went down on the rafts?
On a raft.
Did he tell you about that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure.
For what company did he work?
Oh, I don't know what company it was at that time. Oh,
No, but what companies did he work for?
No, I don't know what.
You don't know? No.
I don't know what.
He never
He used
told.
to go in the fall there.
And he was in back till spring.
Come back to the spring.
Yeah.
And then you take on the raft. That square timber. That's what they had to camp. Staying on the raft.
Right.
You come to a shoot. Well, they'll let go the little square timber through down, and then at the foot they used to go to work and make a crib. They call it that.
Right.
And then they'll come down. Come to a rapid. Well, they run the crib down.
Right.
Man purpose to run it down.
Right.
See the snag. They had a row on. That was before my time.
Yes.
And then they let go you take the colour shoot, they used to let it go, and then right here, down here, they used to go to work and catch it again. Put
it together again.
Put it together again. They had a boat, put it together.
Well, now.
And go down the hill, right through the Ottawa River. Follow the Ottawa River right down to Quebec.
I want you to tell me what rivers you worked on.
I worked on Collins River, the Black River.
The Black River.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more.
Winnipeg River.
Yeah.
And the Sable River.
The Sable River.
East Branch River.
The East Branch River, right?
Oh,
yeah.
I rode that.
Right, okay.
I rode all that.
Petawawa?
No.
No.
No. I didn't go to Petawawa.
Des Moines?
No.
None of those things.
No.
That was really your rivers, eh?
Them the river I rode.
What river did you like best?
Oh, well, as far as the river is concerned, it's been there, they've been there all alike.
They were all like, you just
Yeah,
looked on them as a
that's
job,
all.
eh? It was
As the
just a
river
job.
concerned, it was just, there was rapid, and each river you would drive, there was rapid and then
Right,
shoot.
yeah. Well, were there any rapids that you really were afraid of?
Some of them was.
What ones?
Oh, well, some of them in Collins River, there was some that were scared enough.
You were sort of scared, eh?
Three-port hours, that was wicked.
What was that?
Three-port hours, they call it.
Three portage.
Three-port hours.
Three?
That was the name of the rapids.
Three portage?
There was three rapids, one behind you and one after the other.
Like that, eh?
And you run one, and then there would be
Another
one. Maybe
Yeah.
a few, would be 1,000 feet apart, and then the other one would be there again. And there was three like that, one
It was
after the
pretty
other.
scary, eh?
Well, high water was scary, not low water.
No, high water, yeah.
High water, believe me, some heavy swell.
That's right.
Water, you run that and the swell will drive over your head.
Did you ever see anybody drown?
No.
No. Never lost anybody? No man. No. Did you ever have a narrow escape? Did you nearly went out yourself?
Well, I had one, yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Oh, well, I fell with a boat, upset
Ah,
at the foot, but I made sure.
you made sure, eh?
One.
You
It
swam.
happened to me only once.
And where was that?
I was on Collins River.
On the Calange. At what? At a rapids?
Yeah.
At the Three Rapids?
Yeah.
At the Three Rapids. Comes
was-
out. So that's why you didn't like it after that, eh?
Then I quit drive altogether.
After that you quit, eh?
I quit drive altogether.
How old were you when you quit?
When I quit driving, I was 24 years of age.
You were 24. And then what did you do after that?
I worked at the church here, and trying to build that new church here.
Ah,
At the time I quit.
where did you built the new
Started to
Catholic?
build that new church here in 1923. And then I was the first marriage in that new church.
You were.
Yeah,
For-
56 years ago.
Is that right?
56 years.
Yeah.
In April.
In April.
29 of April.
So
And then
where did the stone?
That's the time I quit drive.
Yeah, you said that's enough. That's enough.
That was enough. So I started to work
Yeah.
there.
Well, now tell me, where did the stone come from for that church? Where did the stone come from?
The stone?
Yeah, they built the church.
Then it was all handmade by the our priest, Father Darshna.
It was.
Yeah, all handmade.
You mean he took
He made them all.
He took the field stone?
You
mean the stone
They
was-
were cement blocks. Today you get the cement blocks to build a foundation, eh? Those
Yeah.
cement blocks.
But he made it.
But he made them all by hand.
How?
Made
What
a
did-
barn.
He had a mold.
A mold.
A mold. He used to make 2 at a time. He say his mass in the morning at 6 o'clock, and then he'd put his
His overalls
his
on.
overalls on and everything, and then he'd go to work and he put that in this mold. This mold was a hole in it, you know,
Yeah.
and put a plank underneath for farm,
Yeah.
and then fill that with some arm, and then had to go to work and take that and bang and tap it so it'd be tight. 2 at a time. He made all that.
How many stones? How many?
Oh, there's quite a few thousand.
I would think so.
Well, you can figure that out around that church.
Yeah, I guess so.
But, all them was
Father
made-
Dajanov.
Father Darsna made them all but the cornerstone and all, not the cornerstone, but all the stone around the window, that was made after that.
Yeah.
He did not have the pattern to
No,
make that.
no.
That was made after that, by hand.
Who made that?
Father Darsna made that, they made a mold.
They made a
The
mold.
contractor made a mold, a fellow named Mick Sulphur. He was the contractor.
That was
Did
in
that church.
23, eh?
And,
In there. 23,
and I
24.
work at that church, me and I work at the end of that tower,
Oh, you did, eh? You were up,
155 feet high.
you were up on the
And right at the end, right at the top.
at the spire.
Yeah.
What were you doing up there?
Carpenter work.
Carpenter. Yeah.
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 I was working on a scaffold 16 inches wide. Go around, come up, and then we're up that high, go to work, build another one, and build another one, and we got to the top. That was it. 16 inches wide, that's all was there.
How did you feel when you looked up and saw him up there?
Eh?
How did you feel when you'd look up and see him up there?
I never went to go when we were going out together, but I never went to go and see him work.
Oh, you didn't? No.
We were married, and we were the first one to
There
marry
was
in
a-
that church.
Yeah.
When we're up there, people like you were looking for that high.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell who it was, you know.
Yeah.
From far away you'd tell who it was.
I know, but if
But,
if you had had a family and they looked
Oh,
up
yeah,
and saw you, it would have been pretty
all
scary.
you gotta do is just intend to your work.
Yeah.
Not,
You couldn't.
Not,
you
not,
couldn't.
Not look up and look
No,
down.
not
up
look-
like that.
that's right.
Intend to your work.
Yeah, you really had to concentrate on it, eh?
Well, my nerve was good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not everybody could do it.
Do you think that working on the logs helped you?
Oh yeah.
Because you had real balance, didn't you?
I had
Like
good balance,
you had
yeah.
good balance and you had concentration.
Oh yeah. That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
I had good nerve. They tried quite a few to
Good.
go and work there to help to furnish. I was mostly a helper for the
Mm-hmm.
carpenter. There was 2 head carpenters,
Right.
and I was mostly helper for them.
Yeah.
you
But
see.
they couldn't stick it, eh?
And so I was good at climbing.
Right.
One carpenter used to call me the squirrel.
He did.
Oh, squirrel.
Squirrel, he said it.
Wear running shoes. No slippy boots. Running shoes.
Yeah.
Rubber underneath, so your feet won't slip.
Right.
And that's what. And then when I had to go to work and make a scaffold, go through that scaffold, we had to move up again. I had to go down and pick up the planks.
Right. And bring them up, eh?
Oh, not me.
No.
There was some man on purpose to take them up and put a rope around and had a pulley and roll them up. And then if any board, sometimes they used to go to work and I'll pick the plank.
Yeah.
And the plank was a knot in it, throw them down. Not use that.
No.
Because the plank with the knot was weak,
Right. Right.
easy break.
Right.
Sometimes the lad was down below, they'd go to work and send one up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just go to work and twist tire and throw them
Back down.
go back down.
Yeah. Reject.
He started to kick about it.
Yeah.
Says I'd bring them up, I gotta go bring them back down again.
Yeah. So then what did you do after that?
After that, well, I worked. After that,
I worked at Davison's Mill.
Davidson's mill. Lumber mill?
Yes.
In Calunch?
After we got married, yeah.
Papa Davison?
Yeah, in Calunch?
Yeah.
Well, no, Davison.
Davidson.
Oh, at Davidson, right,
Davison's
right,
mill. I
right,
working there.
right.
I used to work in the carriage there.
What's the carriage? Tell me about that.
Carriage?
Yeah,
That was the carriage where you put a log on and saw it.
oh,
Go back and forth like that.
yeah.
We used to saw past 1,500 logs a day.
What were they? Pine?
Pine, spruce and all that. That was log come down from the bush.
Yeah,
come
right,
down the river.
right,
They sawed it. That was a sawmill.
right.
It
Worked
burned
there
that sawmill
longest and
there
then
today.
went up to
Now there's
Nicholson.
a little big mill there today, but that's where GB Eddy there now.
Mhm, yeah,
That's he burned that mill. Now there's 2-3 mills.
Yeah.
There's 2 mills. There's a pulp mill since that.
yeah.
Oh, quite a change since that.
Okay, well, you worked
But
in the,
I worked there quite a few years. I
When-
worked there for over 6 years. That
for
mill.
6
Every
years
summer.
at Davidson's, in the summer.
Yeah,
Then you
every
went to the bush in the winter, right?
In the bush and north. I went in the bush in the winter.
First year we were married, we went up to Nicholson.
Nickerson,
And
First year I
always-
was married, yeah, I was up in this in siding.
yeah, right.
And my wife passed the winter with me there.
Ah, you lived there.
Yeah, built a shack
I
up
built a
there.
bit
and
of
my
shack.
sis-
Come on over and tell me about it.
They built a shack.
Come on.
Built a shack, him and his brother and my sister-in-law and I moved up there.
Oh, I want to hear about that. Okay, the year after you were married. Now, what year?
The year we were married.
The year you were married. You were
Yeah.
married at you.
April.
How old were you?
When I got married?
Yeah.
18,
18, and you were
22.
22. You were 22.
Before
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Got
So
married in the spring, I was going to be 23 in the fall.
yeah, and you didn't want to be apart, eh?
No.
Nope. So you decided you.
After he got up there, he wrote to me and he said, if you'd like to come and spend the winter up here, my brother and I is going to build a shack, and he's going to bring his wife and his 2 children up too.
Yeah.
And I said, sure,
we
I'll
just built a
go.
log shack, a log cabin with logs.
Right.
We were well. Even he made me a rocking chair out of a bar.
He did.
Yes.
And you tell me about it. So you had was it one room?
We each had our room. Our
You each
bedroom,
had your
and then
bedroom,
We had
a big
like
room.
a kitchen.
Yeah.
But we didn't make our own meals. We bought our meals from the cookery.
Oh,
We
you
went and got
did?
them hot.
Is that
every
right?
meal, Yeah.
Yeah. And you brought them over
There
and,
was a
and
jobber there, a fellow named Legacy.
Brought them over
He
and we
was
ate
he
in
was a
our...
jobber.
yeah.
And then we went up there and we were cutting by piecework. 14 cents a log to
Yeah.
cut it and put it on the schedule.
Right.
And then one time I drove it to my horses.
That winter.
And then winter, after
Yeah.
I was through there, and we started to draw the log to the lake. And then the lake, then they used to drive the log.
Now, what company was that?
That was Nicholson
Nickerson.
side.
Yeah.
Nicholson.
Well, tell me, were you the only women up there?
No, there was another woman up there.
There was one
There's
other.
two. There's 2. Well, there was a girl. She
Yeah.
was...
The jobber had his
The jobber
little
had
daughter
his-
there. Was,
Yeah.
she,
daughter
was,
there,
she
she
had
was on
her sore
crutches.
legs. She was
Yeah.
there, and her aunt was there.
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah.
Well,
The fella named Freddie Marion
Freddie
was
Marion.
married to Frios Agassi's sister, and he was the foreman.
and he was the foreman.
And old Frios Agassi, he was the jobber, and he was doing the cooking.
And was he ever a cook?
And he was a good cook. Well, tell me.
Well-
I want you to tell me because I need to know. Well, what were the meals like?
Well, anything at all, anything you take.
Pork chops, sea
Sea pie
pie,
and beef, roast beef, and
beans,
stove, bean, cook your own bread,
Homemade
bake your own
bread.
pie,
homemade
bake your
bread
own
and
cake.
good pi- and pies.
Yeah.
I went out in the bush in the fall to pass the day with him, and he knew I liked raisin pies, and I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And he put a pie, and when he knew I was going out with Leo for the day, he put a pie in the lunch. Said, "That's for your wife." That pie.
Oh, yes, he was a good cook.
Well, what? You went out and stayed in the bush with him?
No, I went out. Yeah, that was lovely and weather. It was in the fall.
Yeah.
The sun
She just come
shone.
past the day, see all
Yeah.
it was cutting the
Right,
dog, the
yeah.
way we were working in the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Well,
like?
his 2 brothers was working with him.
Did you like working in? And did you like living in the bush?
Yes, I liked.
You didn't mind it.
I
eh?
wasn't lonesome. I was with my husband.
Yeah. Right.
And my sister-in-law was living with me.
Yeah. You would have been
And
much
she-
more
she-
lonesome back here, probably.
Yes. for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. Right.
But she was in the bush with me the time I had my bull motor. She was in the bush with me for 400.
Yeah,
Really?
up at
Where?
I had a trailer way
Up
up,
at
in
Moose
the,
Lake.
way up at Moose Lake.
Where's Moose Lake?
That's above Maniwaki.
Oh, yeah.
I was there for the G Boy company. G Boy.
J boy.
He was jobbing there,
Yeah.
cutting.
Don't know that company.
And
Well-
and then I was awake. There was a jobber there, a fella at 100 mil Joe, and I was making the road for them.
Yeah, there's
My
bull
boat.
there. We had
Then I
nice
bought a
trailer
trailer.
there, I had everything in it.
Well, what'd you do to pass the time?
Well, I had a neighbour that lived, she was in a trailer right near me.
Oh,
And we used to
You
go
too,
for
you
walks,
get it?
dress up
Have a
warm, go
trailer?
out for walks in the afternoon.
She was
I baked
fat.
my own bread and everything up there.
Sure.
yeah,
Had a stove and a fridge, I had everything up there.
yeah. It's really
Had a
snug,
good
eh?
little trailer.
Yeah. Well, now, when did you, well, like, when did you get your bulldozer? That was really your second. I'm not clear yet what happened. Like, you were in the bush, then you went to work at Davidson's mill, right? I want to ask you, how much did you get a day when you worked at Davidson's mill?
Very hard to tell you that now I was getting a day. I was getting $2 and a half a day.
$2.50 a day, yeah. And that was in when? Let's see, you would be 26. That would be not about 1926, eh?
Oh yes, 1926.
Yeah, because you'd be 26.
You working the year we got married, 1924.
Yeah.
You were getting what?
1924.
Yes, yeah, right,
I was working there.
yeah.
I used to work there just the time the mill was soft.
Right, and then you go into the...
After the season, the mill used to run, well, it was an average around 4 months or 5 months soft.
Yeah, right, and then you go to the bush.
And then I would leave there and go,
Right.
go to the bush in the fall.
Well, did
Went in the bush.
yeah. Okay, well, after you worked at...
They cut the log and skid it and draw it to the river and drive down
Right.
and float down to...
Well, when did you get your bulldozer? What year? Can you remember?
When I got my bulldozer, in 1958,
58.
I bought a bulldozer.
Yeah, so you were a long time in the bush then.
Me?
Yeah. You said you
Yeah,
worked for
sure.
Davidson's for six
yes,
years.
I
Then
lived my life in the bush.
then who was the next one?
I bought a bulldozer in 1958.
No. Who after you worked for Davidson's in the mill? Who did you work for next?
After I worked
For Davidson's.
In Ottawa. Is it in Ottawa then?
well, I used to go to work, and in the summertime I used to work in the mill.
Yeah, in Davidson's mill, right?
Davidson's mill.
Okay,
And then in the fall, I used to go to work and go and job.
Right, I
Cut
know.
log in the bush.
Yeah, no.
For Davidson.
Right, it was for
In the
Davidson.
camp.
Okay,
That was in the camp.
right.
Past winter day.
Yeah. Where were the camps? Where were Davidson's camps?
Up at Davidson, up at the, on the limit here.
On their limit where?
That's up above in Cullen River,
Up above the Colant River.
on the long side of Cullen River.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then they'll draw the log to the river, and then
Right.
spring the year they float the log down to the mill.
Okay. All right, so that was Davidson. Now, when did you go to work for Booth and Eddie?
Oh, I worked for Booth, and I worked for McLaughlin, and I was a single man.
Ah, when you were single,
right.
before you were married. Okay,
I was
all
a
right,
single
then
man,
I've got
I
it.
worked for
Okay.
McLaughlin, I was a single man.
So then it was really Davidson after
And then
that.
for Booth
And then didn't Eddie buy Davidson's? No, who bought Davidson's mill?
G.E. Boyd bought Davidson's mill.
Oh, G.E. Boy. I'm sorry.
G.E. Boyd.
Boyle.
Yeah.
Ah,
He was a
G.E.
contractor. And he was cutting log, he was jobbing.
Right,
He had a mill all over, he had a mill up at Jim's Lake.
right,
And he was cutting on the limit, on Eddie's limit.
right.
He was a contractor.
Right.
But he used to cut from an Eddie's limit. And at last, Eddie going to work. And they said, so gee, boy, can make some money. He got millionaire in 11 years. He declared millionaire.
It was,
Which says, gee, boy, can make that much money on the limit, why we shouldn't cut the limit ourselves? So they went to work, and G. Boyle, they bought out G. Boyle's outfit, the mill and everything, and they took over. They cut their own limit there now. That's why they still go and operate on their own limit there now.
And that. Who was it bought from G.E. Boyle?
You be Eddie.
E.B. Eddie.
They bought the mill.
Right.
From
Okay, that's what I.
the mill, and,
That's what I was trying to get at.
G.
Yeah.
Boyle had bought the mill from Davison.
Right.
Davison they had retired.
Right.
They went to work and they went to work and then they sold the limit. And Jobber went on the limit. I worked a lot up in place. I was working for them. Big machine, weighed 35 ton.
How did you learn to drive the bulldozer?
I just got on the bulldozer and I started to drive.
And you drove it.
That was it. Nobody showed me.
Nobody showed you.
I learned,
You didn't go to
I learned
school.
all on my own head.
Well,
There was one fella, and one time I was riding in the bush, in 1953 when I came back from Labrador. I came back, I was 6 months there, and I came home. And in the fall, the fella named a jobber, he was a job for the consulate. That's the way up the One River. Fella named Eric Francoeur. So he asked me if I go and drive the company bull for him. I said, okay. I went up there. And there was a fellow named Rotten, I was agent. I was trying to, there was a big, very big pine stump. It was an old machine. So I had to give him a little bit of a chance. I could rip it apart in one shot if I want. So I was working at it, gradually, cutting the root easy. So he started to me, telling me to give me some order.
some what?
Give me some order, or to work that, or to pull the stump out and all that.
Give
So
me
shout
some.
to me, you know, the way
Want to
I
give
should
him
go at
orders,
it in
huh?
this way, I
Orders.
should go at it this way.
Ah,
I said, you ever drove a bull, you? He says, no. He says, I've seen a lot of fellas riding. I said, yeah. Well, I said, she'll show me how to pull that stump out and everything. It was a big stump, about 30 inches on the side. Big pine stump, green. I just jump on the machine, I said, here, it's your own machine, that's the company machine. I said, you're agent, you. Assistant agent. Get on, I said, and pull it out, show it to me. I said, I said, I didn't learn. I said, look at the fella. I said, I learned the hardest way. I had done the work to learn it. That's the way I learned it. I said, as far as I go, I said, I can rip it on a time. I said, your machine won't stand. I said, I can one jerk. I said, I can break a machine to pieces. I said, it's an old machine. I said, when you be old, I said, he said, you're going to have a sore back. I said, you're young. I said, you're all right. But when you get old, you'll have a sore back. Well, I said, your machine is old. I said, she has a sore back. I said, I don't want to break it. I said, okay. I said, I can pull it out. I can back it up and hit it out if I want. It won't hurt me, you know. If the machine will take it, not me. It's not me. It's very easy to me. It's just to give them open the throttle, give them all kinds of bar.
do you have a sore back from driving the bulldozer?
I was sitting. Sometimes I had to throw back tires, you know.
Yeah.
You're sitting on that, you know. One time you had to wear a belt, but I didn't wear it.
You didn't? Why?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't wear no belt. Sometimes you had you started to wear a belt, you had to wear a belt all the time. I should have worn something today. I have sore back coming out today.
That's what I'm getting at, you see. Because you see, young.
You sit on that all day
Yeah.
and you get shake up.
That's right, because it shakes you, eh?
Oh, yeah. Certainly shake the head off you
Yeah.
sometimes.
Right.
Day and night sometimes. I risked my life quite a few times.
And the bulldozer.
Yes, on the bulldozer. I risked my life on that.
How?
And I risked my life in driving the truck. I was
How?
going up a load of hay over Black River here.
Yeah.
There was a hill they used to call that the Butter Hill.
Butter Hill?
Butter Hill they used to call that.
Butter?
Just short little piece of hill like that. They christened that a Butter Hill because in the fall, at the time the booze used to work up there. There was a fellow named German who was driving a team of horses, and he was going up with a load of butter. And the horse wasn't strong enough to climb the hill. They started to slip and he started back down, and then it was right alongside a rock. Sam, you're going out here and the rock was there, the river was below. And the horse slipped and went in and upset in the river and drowned the team and drowned the load of butter. So they christened that the Butter Hill.
And that was
So me, I was going up with a load of hay that time.